Well, what does it all mean? Joining me now is Jack Richardson from the Conservative Environment Network, indeed their climate spokesman. Welcome to the programme. I suppose, first of all, there are some wins for those who are keen to decarbonise, but the Labour Party has been particularly critical of this strategy in terms of how lack of direction, perhaps, on onshore wind. There seems to be a distinction between where the government was a couple of weeks ago in trying to encourage more onshore wind, and now those targets seem to have disappeared. What's gone on?
Well, I think the Labour Party might be wrong. There is quite a clear direction being set by this strategy, and it's basically we're doubling down on our transition to clean energy. We've increased, or we are going to be increasing our offshore wind target by 25% up to 50 gigawatts. By 2030, and that includes 5 gigawatts of floating offshore wind, which accesses deeper and windier seas. I'm really pleased to see that because a group of Sen MPs have been campaigning to raise that ambition after the private sector has shown a lot of interest in floating offshore. We're also going to be doing a lot more nuclear, so ending the sort of decades of stagnation on nuclear policy. Instead of doing a nuclear decision every decade, we're going to be doing one every year, which I think is fantastic, 8 more reactors. On onshore wind, I think the government's going to be working with a few communities that really want onshore wind to build wind farms in return for lower bills. And I think that is going to prove to the government once and for all that there is much greater appetite for wind farms, including from Conservative and rural voters who live near them, and the polling backs that up. They've become much more sympathetic to them over the past 5 years or so. There are a couple of areas which could have more progress as well. So the Chancellor recently unveiled a VAT cut for home upgrades, which will increase energy efficiency, which is a really good way to cut bills quite fast. We could maybe go further on that by boosting successful energy efficiency schemes. And one key thing, which I don't think people are focusing on just yet, is if we're going to be building all this clean energy, renewables, nuclear power, and also insulating homes, we really need to start training our workforce up, because we don't have the people with the skills just yet, even though there is a massive appetite, particularly among young people, to do apprenticeships and T-levels in industries like renewables and home insulation, heat pump installation, things like that. So I'd definitely like to see that step.